All right, moving on to yesterday's game, and we've been joined by Brownie to talk about the Warriors and the Rockets, Brownie's favourite team in the Golden State Warriors. Now, obviously, the final result was the 13-point win for the Warriors. But I thought the most interesting thing about this game was the clash of styles and how different. This is a team that's been talked about all year in Houston as a team that is built to beat the Warriors. It's designed to beat the Warriors. They have not been brash when it comes to, so they've not been bullish when it comes to talking about this is the team we're going after. On social media, in their press conferences, they have been very clear that they are gunning for the Warriors. And after game one, as we have two people here, one who predicted in Brownie, who predicted the Warriors were going to win easily, and one in Jared who predicted the Rockets were going to win. First, Brownie.
It reinforced my opinion that the Warriors are just too good, and the game styles, just the Rockets don't match up.
Yeah,
They're too isolation. There's too much of it because compared to the Warriors, they've got ball movement. And defensively, the Rockets can't stop them. There's just too much star power there.
Obviously, dealing with Durant's their biggest issue, which we'll get to later. But as someone who thought the Rockets were going to win, do you still feel confident about that, or are you wavering a little bit?
I still feel confident. I mean, I still think they have the best chance in the league to beat the Warriors. If anyone's going to do it, it's going to be this Houston team. I think what people aren't remembering is that they're not built to stop the Warriors, so they're not built as a defensive team. They're built to outscore the Warriors, which is a tough task, like given that. But I think the one thing, and you just touched on it before, the one thing that is the problem for Houston is Kevin Durant. Yeah, because he's a circuit breaker. He had 13 plays in isolation in game one and was 10 of 13 on those in those plays. And there wasn't a player on the Houston team who seemed to be able to defend him. I think Ariza would be the one that
he had foul trouble as well.
I think Ariza would be the only or the first guy I'd say would go to Durant. And I think they almost just need to give one guy that job, almost like how Boston have given Marcus Morris that job on LeBron. Yeah. And we know how that's gone. It went well in game one, didn't go so well at the start of game two. But I think they almost have to just get one player locked into Durant and really just stop him, because outside of that, they can stop the other players on the Golden State Warriors.
Would you entertain the idea of throwing a double at him? Because he got anything. The thing with Durant, obviously in game one, he finished with 37 points on over 50% from the field and 50% from three. So crazy efficient. Durant can get any shot he wants, whenever he wants against most teams, but against Houston, there is no one who can stop him. He did it on PJ Tucker, he did it on Ariza, he did it on Capella, he did it on James, he did it on Luke Mute. There's nobody on that team who can stop him with his length. Is it worth running a double team at him and trying to get it out of his hands, or are they just too dangerous that if you do that, you're then going to get Steph or Clay hot and it's over?
They are just too dangerous because if they double, who's the man that they're going to leave open from the Warriors? And
Iggy, that's the one you want.
Yeah, it's 100%. Yeah, it's Iggy, but Iggy can turn it on.
Yeah, and the other thing with Iggy is he can play make as well. He's not going to just, if he's struggling from the three, he's not going to keep shooting. He's going to drive and find another shooter. So, yeah, they've got some massive issues. But back to the biggest thing, which is the different play styles. So the Warriors are all about ball movement. It's been their offense ever since Steve Kerr became part of it. He's got this mantra where he likes over 300 passes per game, which is insane. But the only two games that they've lost this postseason, so the one to the Pelicans and the one to the Spurs, both of those games are the only two they've had under 300 passes. So there is something to that with their ball movement, that when they get those passes up, especially when they kept the turnovers down, I think they had 9 for the whole game, which is quite good. That has been their kryptonite at stages, the turnovers, especially in crucial moments of behind-the-back passes or some silly decisions. But also, they're not scared of the mid-range. How many of those isolation possessions for Durant resulted in a pull-up mid-range shot where nobody can challenge him and he just picked them to shreds, where the Houston is just isolation after isolation after isolation after isolation?
Well, then do you almost, as Houston, do you just force Durant to win the game? Like, do you like strangle the other 4 players on the court and force Durant to be the one guy who has to score in every possession. And he can do it, and we know he can, but can he do it 48 minutes for a 7-game series?
If I'm betting my money on either Harden or Durant winning the series, if we're going 1v1, I'd pick Durant every time, especially in a 7-game series. I just think as good. Harden had a really good game, which we're going to get to later, but Durant's just, he can get anything he wants anytime. There was a lot of talk in the broadcast, if you're listening to the TNT analysts and everything, saying, oh, they're getting their other players out of rhythm, they're not in the flow of the offense, which is true to an extent, but let's not forget that it's not like Houston just decided to play like this today. That's what they've done for the entire season. So yes, some of their Luke Mbamute struggled, Ariza struggled, PJ Tucker, I think, only took 3 shots for the entire game. So some of their role players, Eric Gordon, started slowly. Yes, they struggled, but the idea that they're out of rhythm because they're not getting the ball in their hands doesn't really fly, because that's what they've done for the entire season, and they've been able to hit their shots. I do think, though, they have to start their offense quicker. The amount of times it got down to James made his move with 5 seconds left and then passed to Ariza with 1 second. It's happened so many times. I think in the
stat for it was they were 4 for 14 with shots with 3 seconds.
3 seconds or under, yeah. Which if you're taking 14 shots with 3 seconds,
compared to the Warriors had 7.
Yeah. And it just kept happening where basically what happens is Harden, they either give it to Harden or Paul, they'll dribble for 20 seconds and then make a move, which, yes, it works, and I understand to an extent it works against most teams, and I do think that against every single team, unless it's Golden State, they won that game. But the thing is, it's so tiring. If you just watch Harden, he has to work so hard for every single possession. Even if they switch a Curry onto him or a Looney. Looney deserves credit as well, because he was really, really good defensively when he got switched onto him. He did a really good job. Yes, they picked at Curry a fair bit, but everyone likes to do that because that's really the only mismatch you got. Yeah. But eventually, you get tired. You run out of gas, which they were tied at 56 at the half, and then the offense started to fall apart a little bit, because when you do that every time and then Golden State go down the other end, 3 beautiful passes and a wide open look, it's demoralizing eventually.
Yeah, and it's something that Houston really needs to look at. It might just be, do James Harden and Chris Paul have confidence in the other guys that are on the court? I mean, Clint Capella's probably got a mismatch in the post. Like, Draymond's a great defender and a great post defender, but if you can drag him out and then just lob that ball into Capella at an easy 2 points, or just find Ariza, find Eric Gordon, find PJ Tucker, find whoever it is on the outside, they just got to have trust in those guys to score, because...
And give them more time than 1 second.
Yeah, and the thing is, Durant went and scored however many points he did.
37.
But Harden also scored
41.
Yeah, he scored 41. So,
and it was an efficient 41, which has been something to struggle with.
It's not the fact that Durant's getting it too easy against Houston, because Harden pretty much cancels Durant out. But then it's everyone else on the court.
Yeah. And that's their problem, because as good as Durant was, the other guys, the thing is, if you were going to take it down and break it down to how Houston could win this series, you'd say one game Steph has an awful shooting night and has a bad game. That's one, because KD is going to do it every night. It's just lock it in. He's going to get 30 points every game. If he doesn't, it's just a 1 in a million. But you can count on one bad Steph game. We've seen that, especially in the playoffs. You can count on a Harden huge explosion night. You can count on the Warriors having a really poor shooting night, which is what kind of happened when they lost versus Spurs and the Pelicans. But you got a bad Steph game. Steph was not good by any stretch of the imagination. You did get the Warriors shooting very well. They shot 52% from the field and 46% from 3, which is quite high. So you didn't get that. But you also got a explosion game from Harden, and you still lost by double digits. So you got 2 of the 3 you'd want, and it still wasn't enough. That's the alarming part for me. Yeah. I just feel like they had... I don't know if Harden, because we've already seen it this playoffs, he has had over 40 points in every game won so far. The rest of the series, he's not been that great. It's especially with the efficiency. If he doesn't do that every single game, and yes, Chris Paul had the 3 assists, which is down, but he still had 23 points. So it's not a bad CP3 game. He didn't have any trademark choke moments. There was nothing that you can say, that's your fault. You stuffed it up. That's why we lost. And they lost by 13.
Just a star short. That's all it is. They just don't have enough.
Yeah.
No one has enough talent at the moment to match up with the Warriors. That's my...
Yeah.
Like,
they almost
just
one
not
player
enough.
short because, like, you throw Chris Paul at Steph Curry, you throw James Harden at Klay Thompson, and then you're throwing Trevor Ariza at Kevin Durant.
That's the problem, yeah.
So that is their problem, and that's the one thing they do have to get over. I literally think it just is confidence in their other guys.
Yeah.
And I know, like, Eric Gordon shot 6 of 13 in game 1, and Ariza shot 3 of 8, so they're not great. And
Tucker
PJ Tucker was
0
with 3, so they
Luke
weren't
Barmute
like...
0 of 6.
I think it's almost once those guys get firing and once those guys are hitting shots, they are 100% in this game.
Well, that's the thing, because as much as we talked about, yes, all those things, and they still lost by 13, they did. They had 5 more shots and 4 more threes than the Warriors. But Golden State just shot 52% from the field compared to, I think it was
45.
Yeah, 45% for Houston, and they shot 39% from 3 compared to 35. So is it as simple as they made their shots and Houston will eventually start making their shots?
I think that's almost what it comes down to. I mean, I don't think you're going to be relying on Klay going like 9 of 18 every game and Steph going 8 of 15. Like,
Steph won't play that bad again, I doubt.
No, he won't. Yeah. So you've really got to just work with these players and just work with what you've got at the moment.
Because that's the thing. What can they do to actually change? There's not much they can change.
They could probably do. There's got to be a bit more ball movement. Because Harden can't be dribbling the crap out of the ball.
But
every
the thing
possession.
is, they've done that all year. Like, can they really change it right now? This is his system. D'Antoni isn't going to go scrap it. We're stuffing this, and we're going to have 300 passes, and we're going to become an assist team. I just don't think that happens in the course of a series when you've done it for the entire year.
Yeah, but these they're going to change it, and it's got to be.
Well, they got to because
it's not working clearly because they got. Let's be honest, more than 10 points is sort of getting close to a blowout, isn't it? Really.
And once again, it was the third quarter. We said they were tied at halftime, and then as the third quarter is Golden State's, it's where they go to work. Quarter. Yeah, it just felt like it. Just what it feels like is like Golden State just absorb, and then bang, and you're gone.
They're off.
That you let them out for a second, and that's it. And I think, as well, this is the most engaged I think I've seen the Warriors for a long, long time. This is I don't think this team is a super team that's historically good, and we've been sitting here going, you know what, I reckon the Rockets can beat them. And that's what the media's been saying.
Cruise control.
And eventually, I think as much as Draymond said, oh no, we're not gunning for them, we're not waiting for them, I think deep down they would be like, we want to crush these guys. Yeah. We want to destroy them and show everyone that there is no point. You can't beat us. So I don't know. I reckon that's the game plan that they're coming out with. And if they keep that engaged level, Steph plays a bit better, and KD does what he did again, they're gonna struggle. Houston is, especially considering they did so much work to get that number 1 seed and get home court advantage, and bang, it's gone.
Just like that.
In one game, all that work is gone. And now, I think the game 1 was more important for the Rockets than it was for the Warriors. If the Warriors lost it, so be it. But I just felt that was more important for Houston to get on the board.
Game 2, there's a lot of pressure on them now too.
Massive.
If you don't get at least one game on your home court, all that effort all year to
go
get
down 0-2.
It's what was the point, really?
Yep. But in saying that, in all these things we've said, the Rockets did score. They scored well from isolation. They scored 43 points on their 34 isolation possessions, so they actually did quite well. And one crazy stat that makes absolutely no sense, the Warriors actually had more post-up or isolation possessions than Houston did. They had 3 more, which just defies logic because watching the game, that's not what you got from it. But in saying that, a lot of that was KD, which we said. Does it change? I know it's not going to change your prediction because you're going to stick with the Warriors anyway. But am I right in saying that?
Yeah, if anything, it's probably
shorter
pushed me now to from 6 to... I could go to be a sweep at this point.
As Barkley said, Warriors in 3.
Like,
has it changed? You said, was it Rockets in 7?
Yeah.
Was that your initial prediction? Yeah. Has it changed? Have you tipped over the other way? No.
I'm still going with Houston.
Can you just sell me on it? Because I'm not. I watched that game and I got to the end of it, and to be perfectly honest, I was flat because I'm like, what is the point?
Here.
What is the point? This team is just unbeatable. You cannot beat this team in a 7-game series.
Well, the thing is, I just think it's going to come down to those guys outside of
Hitting
the stars.
their shots.
And I think you look at their regular season matchups, and I don't know why Ryan Anderson only played 5 minutes in game 1, because he had 12 and 8 in their win in October, and then he had I only had 5 points, but had 13 rebounds in their win in January.
It's an interesting wrinkle to throw in for D'Antoni because Draymond just does such a good job with Capella. I think they only probably got 2 or 3 of those lobs where Harden just drives, which they get them every time they want them. But Draymond's so good at playing the angles; he makes it so hard. So Ryan Anderson would be something to throw at them.
Ryan Anderson, the only thing
defense.
Yeah, defense is his is why he probably isn't in this game as much as he should be. But I just think guys like Eric Gordon have to turn it on, and we haven't seen that yet from him. Really,
especially early, he struggled.
We haven't seen that from him yet, and just I think it'll literally come down to those guys, and I think they will start hitting their shots, and that's
still
where
going
I'm putting all my money.
in 7.
I'll still say Houston in 7.
Practically, you're saying Houston you're hoping that when they put all the chips in, that it's going to hit at the right. Because pretty much to me, that's the only way. Everyone has to
hit.
In.
But for 4 games.
That's what they've planned for, and that's how they've built this team.
Yeah.
For it to work over a 7-game series against this Golden State Warriors side.
Yeah. The other thing, if they want to win this series, is they've got to get out on the fast break more, because they only had 3 fast break points for the entire game. And if they don't get some easy offense, that's where I enjoy watching Houston. The Rockets, in my opinion, I know you disagree, are not that fun to watch because it's just watching James Harden dribble for 20 seconds. But when they get out in transition and they kick and find the open shooters, that's when they're good to watch. And I think that's where they're more dangerous. You just didn't see that. Watching them in the regular season, the ball would just be flying around because they're on the fast break and teams can't adapt to it and shift their defense, as we saw it as well versus the Jazz, Rudy Gobert being caught out of position and whatnot. But that didn't happen in game 1, and they got to start to get some of that fast break, especially because the Warriors I think they had 18 fast break points, and some of the ones down the stretch at the death with Clay hitting a couple of threes where they're wide open. It's just like, oh. That's a killer. It's a killer. I really, really, really want a good series, and I really want it to go to 7.
Well, this is going to be the best series we're going to get.
Oh, yeah. Which we'll get to later, which is alarming because...
Yeah. So I think everyone's hoping just for at least not a sweep.
Just at least give us 6 or 7.
A competitive 6-game series will be fine.
And in the first half, it was
something to remember this playoffs by. Yeah. Because at this point, it's just...
If the Warriors go on and sweep these last 2 rounds and win, it's becoming to the point where this is impossible. You just can't beat this team. And what is the point if you can't... As good as it is watching this team, because this team is probably going to go down as one of the greatest teams of all time, it's a bit ridiculous when they got no competition. So I really hope they do. And I think they can, but as Brownie said, it's going to have to be you shoot 60% from the field. Which, to do it 4 games...
I can't see that.
It's going to be tough. Yeah. It's going to be tough for sure.